Everybody, welcome back. So today we are going to give out the 2024 Planner Awards. I know it's March, but isn't that kind of what award season is? Maybe that's more of February. I don't know. I don't watch the Grammys or the Oscars or any of these things, so what am I talking about? Who knows? But this was originally a tag from, I believe, Chanplans. I found out about it through Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I know there's other versions of this going around. I haven't watched those and I haven't written down the prompts for each of those, so I'm just going to stick with what I know. So that's the version of this that I am using. Before we get into that, I am going to kind of do some stats on how many kits I used from each shop this last year in 2024. By the way, this is my 2024 Sadie Stickers vertical planner, and this cover is called Spanish Florals. You can get this exact cover if you are interested still. So I feel like I was inspired to do this by, what's her username? Peace, Love, Plan, and Read. Her name's Kat. I cannot remember her username, but she did a lot of stats on like how many kits from each shop and then what foils she used most frequently. I'm not going to do the foil part because I don't use foil that frequently anymore, but I will do the stats on the shops that I used in 2024. So, to no surprise, Cinderella paper was my top shop. I used 25.5 kits from Cinderella paper in this planner this last year, so that's basically half the year is Cinderella paper. I will explain the half part in a moment. Then my second top shop, coming in way second place, but I do love this shop, Apple Blossom Prints. I used 6 kits from that shop. I used 5 kits from Lynner Designs, 4 from Café with Anna, 2.5 from Caress Press. The other half in that case was leftovers from an Alicia Craft kit, who I didn't get to use much Alicia Craft in 2024 because I think she closed maybe halfway through the year. And it doesn't seem like she's going to come back with physical stickers anymore, which makes me very sad because I did love Alicia Craft's quality. Plus she was in California. Like, she's relatively close to where I live, so I would always get my orders very quickly. I had 2 kits from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. plus 12 monthly kits, but this is just counting the weekly kits. I had 2 from Pink Leaf Prints. Like I said, I had that half kit from Alicia Craft. I made a mistype. The other half of leftovers from the Alicia Craft kit was leftovers from Caress Press, or like extra boxes from Caress Press. I used half of an SPC kit, so Scribble Prints Co. The other half was supplemented by Cinderella paper, which we covered in my top shop. I had 1 Kimmi Studio kit. She closed at, I believe, the end of 2023. Sugar Pop Fizz got 1 kit. The Prairie Planner got 1 kit. Bean Sprout Paper, who I believe is not selling stickers anymore, got 1 kit. And Sadie Stickers got 1 kit. So my stats, not super surprising, but I just thought that'd be interesting to go over. And then at some point I'm going to count how many weeks I color blocked versus didn't color block, but we'll cover that in a new video. So, drum roll please. Let's go ahead and look at my top spread of the year. So we have to flip almost to the end of the planner for this. There were a lot of great spreads this year, but the one that absolutely took the cake is in the December section of my planner. If you see any little post-its, these are from Plum Paper. I just used these to more easily mark which spreads I was marking, but I do have some notes on my computer, so you might hear me tapping on my computer a little bit. So this was the second week we were in New Zealand. This was from Caress Press. This is called Spring Cottage, and I paired it with ice and I believe lavender foil underlays from Plana Hannah, as well as a bunch of random gold foil that I had from lots and lots of shops. Obviously, memory-wise, this is a very special week, but then I also just loved the kit. I'm so happy that I got to use it for a travel week and not just like a generic spring week, and I love that I color blocked. And my only thing that I might change here is that I used the bottom washi, which I love. There were matching date covers that were also in this grass pattern, but I did prioritize using the deco over the date covers when I had deco. So I think it turned out really well. That might be one change I make, but other than that, this was an amazing week and it had to take top spread of the year, both for looks. I mean, I even color blocked the sidebar, both for looks, but also just for the memories. So that's my top spread of the year. And then for my runner-up spread, it has to be the week before that. So this was a kit from Cinderella paper called Fellowship. and I paired it with Autumn Gold and Hunter Green foil from Planet Hannah, and this was the first week of our New Zealand trip. So again, I both just love how it turned out because I took a lot of time to think about what underlays I was going to be using. I generally think quite a lot about underlays. I cannot get this extender open. I think quite a lot about underlays for special weeks like these. I don't think about underlays so much for my everyday life, but again, I color blocked and then I paired it with those underlays and some gold foil, and I am just really happy with how this turned out. We visited Hobbiton and Weta Workshop this week, which are both, you know, affiliated with the Lord of the Rings movies, so I thought it made perfect sense to do this Lord of the Rings themed kit. So that's the top and runner-up spreads. Moving into the seasonal awards. So my favorite summer spread was in August. I had a lot of actually decent summer spreads this year. A lot of times I don't love summer kits. I'm not super inspired by summer kits, honestly. Also, I'm just not a big fan of summer most of the time. But in 2024, I actually had a lot of summer kits that I liked, so it was kind of hard to narrow this down. But I decided to pick this Lynner Designs Garden Party Kit. This was when we went to Spokane, Washington for our friend's wedding, and it was like a backyard wedding, so I thought this made a lot of sense, and these colors did end up kind of matching. She had like a lot of sunflowers on the cakes and things like that. There weren't like a ton of florals. It was a very simple wedding, which is great, but I do remember there being like sunflowers on the cake. So yeah, I paired this with, I think it's called Prism Gold Foil from Scrabble Prints Co. I had a really old foil bundle and I just thought this was so fun. This was like our first trip not related to Clover's, my kitten's, care for medicine since she got sick. So it was a really special trip. And of course our friend got married, so that was very nice. So again, another one where it's like, it looks beautiful, but then also lots of good memories. This is my favorite summer spread. My favorite winter spread, we gotta go so many months back. I love winter kits, but I don't get a ton of chances to use them because I don't live where it snows, and I feel like a lot of truly winter kits have snow, and I need to remember to refocus my camera every time I turn these just because it's gonna be an issue at some point because of the thickness of the planner. Actually, let's flip back here just in case this one was out of focus. I just remembered that. So that's a final look at this one in case any of those clips were out of focus. Look at that beautiful foil. I wish there was more foils like this one. Okay, now moving on to my favorite winter spread. I gotta be really careful. I used a lot of extenders in 2024, so you gotta be careful when you're turning those pages so that you don't like rip something off. All right, my tripod is acting weird lately. Okay, favorite winter spread. This is Cinderella Paper's Tintern, and I paired it with Autumn Gold overlays from Planet Hannah that were cat themed because this was supposed to be the week that we were done with Clover's treatment. If you've been following, you know that turned out not to be the case. I think I was filming this week as she started relapsing, unfortunately, and now everything's fine. But the first part of 2024 was really, really rough and very sad. But yeah, this was my favorite winter spread. I know a lot of people would see this more as like a fall kit, but it fit with like my version of winter. And the funny part is I was in Colorado this week and there was a little bit of snow left on the ground, but like it had not snowed recently. So it was actually quite warm for Colorado in January. And then also I had a few like gold bows from a washi overlay, but I paired it with these little cat icons from Planet Hannah to kind of fill in the washi. So yeah, I was in Colorado Monday and Tuesday this week, and we thought we were done with Clover's treatment, but Clover started kind of acting weird around here as well, and we were still moving out of our SoCal apartment. So a very, very mixed week, but oh my goodness, I love this. I think this is called Autumn Tie-Dye from Planet Hannah. This foil is incredible and kind of mimics a calico cat pattern. Moving on, in the seasons, we have favorite fall spread. So we are going to flip to late September, early October for that. So this is from the Prairie planner. This is Fairytale Wedding, and I use this because my cousin got married locally, and I love the colors in this, especially for, it was not autumn weather this week. It was, like I wrote here, it was like 199 degrees. It was still so hot here in northern central California, but I love the colors in this. So my cat was not doing well though. She got her shots like the week before, and she had had a UTI before that, like a few weeks before that, and then it kind of just like resurged this week. So that was not fun, but we went to the wedding and had fun, and then we were just trying to deal with Evie. Yeah, I paired this with some silver foil, just very minimal silver foil, and I think it turned out really well. I love the flowers in this kit. I think it's very pretty. So that was my favorite fall spread. I didn't have a lot of fall spreads this year just because there were so many weddings and travel and all those types of things. So I don't have a true autumn spread for you, and the ones that I did use didn't turn out like that great, but I love this for a fall wedding. And then my favorite spring spread is going to be back in March. I love spring kits because I can generally use them pretty well because spring is mostly the same most places. Okay, so this is from Cinderella paper. It is called Plant With Me. I'm actually prepping to use the leftovers of this pretty soon. And I used it with a little bit of green foil from Plan With Me stickers. And I color blocked this one, so I love how that turned out. I really got into color blocking in 2024 because I was trying to figure out how I could make spreads look more cohesive, and this was the easiest way. This was another week where we had to go back to Colorado for Clover's treatment. So we tried out a different hotel this time in Fort Collins, which was where we had to travel to take our kitten for medical treatment. And it was a really good experience there. And I also met one of the other participants in the clinical trial that my cat was part of. So it was good to talk with her. Her cat was in the first round of treatment. My cat was in the second round. So it was good to bond over that because it was a really rough situation. My brother came to visit, and my husband said yes to being in his friend's wedding party. That's cute. So yeah, I really like how this turned out. This was a good spring spread. It's been really nice to have a back patio with like a garden bed that we can use. So I feel like this represented 2024 pretty well. Next, we get into the best holiday spread. So I really liked all of my Christmas weeks this year. Like I did all December was all Christmas, but if I really have to give it to somebody, to a holiday, I'm gonna give it to Halloween. So this is wicked cute from Cinderella paper, and there's a calico kitty in the pumpkin bucket, and I paired this with just plain unfoiled cat tarot underlays from Planet Hannah, and I absolutely love this. So not a ton happened this week because it was like right in the thick of the semester, but of course Halloween was this day. We celebrated Dia de los Muertos with my husband, and then Diwali with some friends who were celebrating, and we were just getting ready for upcoming travel. So I color blocked this one as well, and I'm really glad that I did that. And I have a ton of leftovers from this kit, and I'm so excited to use it again in October of this year. And then the next prompt is best spread using a mystery kit. I'm not subscribed to any mystery kits. I don't own any mystery kits, so we're just going to skip that one. And then so we get into best favorite moments spread, and this is where I struggled to pick one just a little bit. So, by the way, when I said I used 4 Café with Anna kits, I purchased and used those 4 Café with Anna kits almost instantly. Like everyone that I bought, I've used at this point. So statistically, that bears well for Café with Anna, I think. So I had a really hard time picking, but they're both Café with Anna kits for this best favorite moments spread. So the first one is this Alien Superstar kit. So first of all, I love how this turned out. I didn't color block this one, but I still think it turned out really nicely. Is there an extender here? It's really hard to tell. Yeah, there's extenders here. There were some things that happened this week that I really hated, oh, we were day 24 out of 84 for Clover's, what's it called? Like you have to do an 84-day observation after they go off medicine just to make sure that they're okay. She turned 14 months on June 14th. I had a phone call for something that I don't want to talk about. I was right. They were wrong, but they stressed me out. So anyway, my sister turned 21. And the reason why I picked this for favorite moments is that, first of all, the cats killed a spider together, which was hilarious, and also they paid their rent, so good job for them. Our older nephew turned 16. The cats got a new feather toy, which they loved, although they broke it. That's just kind of how it goes when you have animals that love to play with things. And then I was dealing with all that nonsense, so that's not good. But we went to the Juneteenth block party, which was way more than a block party. It was a huge event. It was great. We had some great barbecue, enjoyed the beer garden, and then they had a Tina Turner impersonator and another band that was really great. So I was really glad that we got to enjoy that in my hometown. And then we also saw Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers in theaters because the movies were all back in theaters for the 20th anniversary. So we didn't feel like seeing all three. That's a bit much for one weekend, but we did go and see our favorite one, so Two Towers in theaters, and that was a great experience. So that's one version of a favorite moments spread. We also had a game night with my siblings on Zoom. I don't know if it was on Zoom, but it was virtually. And then the other favorite moments spread is also a Café with Anna kit. What do you know? So this one is called Texas Hold'em, and this is when I got to see Casey Musgraves in concert, as well as Nickel Creek and Father John Misty, but I was mostly there for Casey Musgraves, but I loved the other two bands as well, even though I hadn't listened to them much. So just for this Monday, it was a great favorite moments spread. I've been a fan of Casey Musgraves since she kind of debuted her first album, which was 2013, I think. So it was great to see her. She came to my hometown. So I thought this was a great favorite moments just because that was like a dream come true from a really long time ago. What else happened that was like a favorite moment? My sister FaceTimed me to ask how to deal with the foster cat she had at the time. I think that cat got adopted by somebody else at this point. She doesn't have her anymore. So that could also be a favorite moment. Like I was in the middle of class because I was teaching a night class, and then I got out of class and noticed my sister I didn't know you could leave a voicemail on FaceTime, by the way. I learned that in 2024. And I was like, what is going on? And so I called her back. We also got a new washer and dryer, which I suppose could count as a favorite moment because it means my landlord doesn't suck. So that's good because our washer was making like a weird noise, and the repair guy came this day to check it out. And then he was like, I'm going to tell your landlord to just replace this because the parts for this are way too old. I can't order the parts for it. So that was kind of nice. Nice when you get new appliances and you don't even really have to fight your landlord about it. I got my booster shots for this season. So yeah, I couldn't pick one favorite moment. So I picked two, and funnily enough, they both involved Café with Anna as well as music. Okay, moving on. We have best foil pairing, and this one was very easy for me to pick one because it was the one where I went like the most wild with foil for the whole year. And this was, of course, Clover's birthday week. So Clover is my kitten. We adopted her when she was like 2 months old. So her birthday is April 14th, and I used the Cinderella paper kit, Hip Hip Hooray, and I paired it with so many different foils. So let's see here. We've got orange glitter, I think, from Plan With Me stickers. We've got like gold glitter. I think these are from Planner Pixie Co. I did these little, I don't know if you can see this. I did the 2 photos of her. So this was a photo from when she was 3 months old. So July 14th, 2023. And then this was a photo from like the day before her birthday, I think, with her birthday piñata. So we got orange glitter from Plan With Me stickers, gold glitter from Planner Pixie Co. because that was back when she was doing customs. And then I think these underlays are also from Plan With Me stickers, so some sort of gold glitter. And then I've got like a green glitter shamrock pattern from Planner Pixie Co. I've got this blue waterfall, or whatever you want to call it, from Plan With Me stickers. These orange glitter paw prints I think are from Plan With Me stickers. this gold, or not gold, I'm totally mixing up everything. Green glitter overlay is from Plan With Me Stickers. And I think that covers everything. Basically, it was orange, green, and gold glitter from various shops, and then blue waterfall, or whatever you want to call it, from various shops as well. And then I have like a custom overlay from Planner Pixico in gold glitter. Like I did the most here because it was a very special occasion. I think I had originally joked with my husband about throwing the kitten a first birthday party since we knew her actual birthday, unlike our other cat, and since Clover is a lot more social than Evie. But then it just meant so much more once we went through the whole experience of saving her life. It meant so much more to have a little birthday party for her. So that's the best foil pairing because it's crazy. And I didn't color block the underlays, but I did color block the overlays because I thought that would make sense. So hopefully that is all picking up on camera. It is wild and I absolutely love it. Okay, then the next prompt is biggest surprise good. So we're gonna flip back to January for that. This is where I used my one and only Kimmi Studio vertical kit. And this was for my first wedding anniversary. So I was really surprised how well this turned out. So it was the same art that I used for our wedding in 2023, but a different shop. And I paired it with a few full boxes from an Alpha Blossom Prints kit that were anniversary related. That was those are where those two boxes are from. And then I also paired it with silver and gold foil, like I did for our wedding, and then brought in some pink foil from Plana Hannah as well. And I was really surprised how well I thought this turned out. We were packing up, or I was really packing up the apartment at this point because we were going to move on the 15th. So yeah, I was surprised how well it turned out, and a part of me almost likes it more than the way that my wedding kit turned out. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off. We don't need this anymore. I'm gonna go through and take off all these Post-its. But yeah, I think I also liked it because it had the deco, whereas the Cinderella paper kit that I used for our wedding week didn't have that. And there was a lot more of this like green floral pattern as well. I still love how my wedding week turned out, but there were a few things that could have been not better, but it's just like when you're doing a wedding week, at least for me, I wanted to mark like every single little thing. So it did look a little bit crowded. So I don't know. I did like this. So this custom quote is from Plana Hannah. This is from Alicia Craft. This is overlays from Plana Hannah. This is from Scribble Prints Co. That's from Alicia Craft. Plana Hannah, Scribble Prints Co., and Alicia Craft. And then the underlays, the musical ones, are from Plana Hannah, and the quote ones, the like vow ones, are from Alicia Craft. And that's all the foil you see here is foil I had left over from wedding week in 2023. So yeah, oh god, it was really cold this week, but it was dry. It was weird. I was still in Orange County at this point. But yeah, that was my biggest surprise good, just because I was surprised how much I liked it. And oh, I brought in some mixed metal foil from Scribble Prints Co. as well, especially for the header overlays. So those are in twinkle, but they're in silver and gold. And I've explained this a million times, but I like the symbolism of silver and gold for a wedding. So that was my biggest surprise good. For my biggest surprise bad, we just have to go back 1 week, weirdly enough. So instead of doing a New Year's kit in 2024, I did a reading kit because I wanted to read more in 2024. And I read a little bit more, but truly I didn't end up reading a lot more until this next year, 2025. I'm already like way off to a better start with reading. But this was my biggest surprise bad because I loved this kit, but I feel like I should have color blocked it, which would have been tricky based on the colors. Like it seems very monochromatic. And this isn't like bad, it's just not great. Like I feel like it doesn't do justice to the beauty of this Bibliophile kit. This is from Cinderella paper, if I didn't say that already. Let's see, I was reading Mexican Gothic, which I do recommend as a book. It's a really good book. What else was I doing? I had to turn in my keys at my old job and clean out my office. There was an earthquake that I actually felt, and I was like, I think I'm ready to leave. I think I'm ready to move. We went to Shabu Shabu. I do miss that place. My husband wasn't really here this week except for the weekend because he had already moved for his job. So, you know, it's not the worst. It's also like not my favorite. So this was my biggest surprise bad in 2024. Moving on to favorite bottom washi combo. I never really know how to answer this one, so I'm going to pick something where I didn't have bottom washi for the kit, so I had to come up with my own. So that is where Itty Bitty Sticker Co. comes in. And this was, I think this was Molly's birthday kit from last year, if I remember correctly. I used it for Clover's Adoptiversary because it said I work hard so my cat can have a better life, so duh. And I paired it with some overlays that I had from the Prairie planner as well as from Planner Pixie Co. And then I had some leftover foil from Plan With Me stickers as well. But anyway, as far as the bottom washi goes, I just have this cat scotch washi that I love. So I wanted to shout out this week, but then also shout out the bottom washi, even though I've had this washi for forever. It's from Scotch. But I do think it paired very nicely with this week. All right, we got 2 more prompts. Let's go. So favorite sidebar, we're gonna flip back to February. Sidebars are hard for me to like narrow down which one is like my favorite, but I keep forgetting to take my Post-its off as I go along. So I will zoom in on this in a minute, but this is a kit from Cinderella paper called Sunshine and Rain. This was one of the most difficult weeks of my life because it was very clear that Clover was not doing well, that she had relapsed, and she had relapsed with neurological problems, and so I had to go back with her to Colorado and we restarted treatment, and it was very stressful all along the way because I was dealing with a road rage driver. The stretch from driving from Denver to Fort Collins can be really scary, especially at night. I feel like people are like trying to go to Wyoming and they're kind of crazy. It's very uncomfortable. So I dealt with a road rage driver, and then the walls at the La Quinta Inn I was staying at were really thin, and I could hear, I'm not going to get into it, but the dude who was in the room next to me was really gross. And then I was like crying on the flight home. I was crying in the Human Bean drive-thru for coffee. I was just so upset. I had a meltdown because one of the medications my kitten had to take, she needed to eat with it, and she was refusing to eat. We had to switch up for food. Finally got her eating again by feeding her by hand. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. We'll talk all about that in the flip-throughs for this year. But my favorite sidebar is this one because I absolutely love this cat box. We've got multiple habit trackers. Clover started her meds again. I always do a dinner sidebar. But then I wrote in 2 different lyrics for Clover. So first we have some lyrics from Taylor Swift, Forever Winter. It says, I'll be summer sun for you forever, because that just kept playing in my head. And then I have Soon You'll Get Better, because you have to, which is also a Taylor Swift song. So oh boy, it is really hard to think about everything we went through with Clover. Like, even though we're out of the woods at this point, I hope. It was a really tough experience, and it's gonna stick with me for a long time, and it does still cause me some anxiety. Because it was really just proof that like I don't have control of so many things. And that life's not fair. So that's my favorite sidebar, mostly because of all of those lyrics, but also because of the cat box. And it was very rainy outside in both California and Colorado this week, and it was just a very sad time. So that's my favorite sidebar. Nice and cheery, right? I can't believe it's been over a year since this happened. That's crazy. And then finally, we have the most repurchase worthy spread. So I never know how to interpret this prompt, but I do as best I can. The way that I interpret it is either you're like definitely going to repurchase this kit at some point, or you're going to like purchase additional stuff to use with the leftovers. So for me, that was Café with Anna's Impossible kit. As we established just moments prior, February 2024 was an incredibly dark time of our lives, and it was around that time that this kit came out. And I think it was when I was coming back from that trip I just showed you with Clover that I got this in the mail. This is themed after Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella that came out, I believe it came out in the 90s with Brandy and Whitney Houston and Whoopi Goldberg. I loved that thing growing up. I think I had a recording of it from Wonderful World of Disney, and I was Cinderella obsessed as a kid. So this hit me right in the nostalgia. I paired it with gold foil, and I absolutely loved it as an October kit. I was celebrating 12 years with my husband, and my brother got married this week. So I just love this, and I would definitely repurchase this because it's just a great anytime kit. And it brought me so much joy at a time when things were really, really hard for me. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Loved how this turned out, and I would definitely consider purchasing this again for so many other occasions. I think it's a great kit, and I'm so happy that I had it when I had it. Also, Evie was like still sick this week. We talked about that kind of towards the beginning of this video. 2024, we spent so much time and money at the vet. 2023 was kind of similar, but 2024 was somehow worse. Hooray. But I love my cats, and they're happy and healthy now, as far as I can tell. So yeah, that is where we're going to cap this video off. Those are my 2024 planner awards. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to do this tag, I encourage you to. It's very fun. I can post the prompts in one of the comments so that it's easier for you to answer them, so you don't have to keep pausing the video. That's normally what I do when I try and do tag. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all are doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!